In the untamed wilderness of Montana's Blackfoot Valley, where rugged mountains pierced the clouds and vast meadows stretched endlessly toward the horizon, stood Silvercrest Stables. The premier breeding facility was the crowning achievement of Victoria Sterling, a woman whose reputation in the equestrian world was as formidable as the storm gathering in the distance. Her platinum blonde hair, pulled back in a severe bun, matched the cold calculation in her steel-grey eyes as she strode through the pristine facility, designer riding boots clicking against the polished concrete floors. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The late autumn wind howled outside, rattling the windows of the state-of-the-art breeding barn. Victoria's expression remained impassive as she reviewed the latest reports from her breeding program director, Chen. Her facility was known for producing some of the finest racing thoroughbreds in the country, each horse carefully selected and bred for perfection. "Miss Sterling," Marcus called out, hurrying down the corridor with an urgent step. "The mare Midnight Symphony. She's gone into labor ahead of schedule." Victoria's eyes narrowed. Midnight Symphony was her prized mare, a triple-crown descendant. Worth millions, bred to Storm Warrior, one of the most successful stallions in racing history. This foal was supposed to be her masterpiece, the culmination of years of careful breeding and genetic selection. "How far ahead?" she demanded, already moving toward the foaling barn. "3 weeks, ma'am. The storm. It seems to have triggered the labor." Thunder crashed overhead as they entered the foaling barn, where a team of veterinarians and stable hands worked frantically around the distressed mare. The wind screamed through the rafters, creating an eerie chorus that matched the tension in the air. Victoria watched, her fingers gripping her tablet so tightly her knuckles turned white, as Midnight Symphony struggled to deliver her foal. Hours passed, marked by the relentless beating of rain against the roof and the increasingly concerned whispers of the medical team. Finally, in a moment that seemed suspended between lightning strikes, a small, wet form emerged into the world. The silence that followed was deafening. Victoria stepped forward, her expression darkening as she took in the sight before her. The foal was significantly smaller than expected, its legs noticeably thinner than they should have been. As the veterinarians worked to clean and examine the newborn, their faces told a story Victoria didn't want to read. Dr. Sarah Martinez, the head veterinarian, approached with a careful expression. "Miss Sterling, the foal is alive, but what?" Victoria's voice cut through the air like ice. "There are several concerns. The premature birth has resulted in underdeveloped lungs. The leg structure is weaker than we'd hoped for, and there are signs of potential heart complications. With proper care and time." "Time," Victoria laughed, but there was no warmth in the sound. "Time is money, Doctor. This facility doesn't exist to nurse weak animals into mediocrity." She turned to Marcus. "What's the projected value?" Marcus hesitated, running calculations on his tablet. "Given the genetic line, we could still see some return, but with these health issues, we're looking at a fraction of what was projected. The training costs alone to get this one into racing condition, if it's even possible." Victoria held up a hand, silencing him. She walked over to the foal, which was attempting to stand on wobbling legs, repeatedly falling back onto the straw. Midnight Symphony nickered softly, trying to encourage her baby. But Victoria had seen enough. "This is unacceptable," she declared. The bloodline is compromised. We can't risk our reputation on a defective product." She turned to her staff, who had grown very still. "Remove it from the premises." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Ms. Sterling, please, with the storm outside and in the foal's condition." "That's precisely why now is perfect," Victoria cut in. "Natural selection at its finest. If by some miracle it survives the night, perhaps it deserves to live. But I won't waste resources on a lost cause." She turned to Marcus. "Have them take it to the far pasture. What happens after that is nature's decision." The staff exchanged horrified glances, but none dared to challenge her. Victoria Sterling's word was law at Silvercrest, and her ruthless decisions had built an empire. As two stable hands reluctantly prepared to carry out her orders, she was already walking away, tapping on her tablet to update the breeding program's records. "Make sure the mare is ready for breeding again as soon as possible," she called over her shoulder. "And find me a surrogate for the next attempt. I won't risk Midnight Symphony on another failure." The storm raged on as the stable hands, wrapped in rain gear, carried the struggling foal out into the darkness. They travelled as far as they dared in the treacherous conditions, finally setting the newborn down in a sheltered area beneath an old oak tree. The younger handler, Jake, removed his own rain jacket and draped it over the shivering foal, earning a sharp look from his colleague. "Miss Sterling will notice that missing," the older hand warned. "Let her," Jake replied, his voice thick with emotion. "I can't just—" "You can, and you will. That's the job. Come on, we need to get back." They turned away, the sound of the foal's weak cries disappearing into the howling wind. Unknown to them, or to Victoria Sterling, fate had other plans for the discarded newborn. For just beyond the far pasture, where the pristine fences of Silvercrest Stables gave way to wild meadows, lived someone who was about to change everything. Through the tempestuous night, the abandoned foal's cries carried on the wind, barely audible above the storm's fury. Lightning illuminated the darkness in violent bursts, revealing a small figure trudging through the rain-soaked meadow. Maya Rivers, a former veterinary student turned wildlife rehabilitator, had been tracking the strange sounds that reached her modest cabin at the edge of the wilderness. At 26, Maya had already earned a reputation among locals for her extraordinary ability to heal injured wildlife. Her decision to leave veterinary school in her final year had shocked many, but after losing her parents in a tragic accident, she found solace in the solitary life of rehabilitation work. Her small sanctuary, Wild Heart Haven, was a testament to her dedication, a place where broken creatures could find healing and purpose. The wind whipped at her rain gear as she carefully made her way forward, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Another flash of lightning revealed something unusual beneath an old oak tree, a shape that didn't belong in the wild landscape. Maya's heart stopped when she realized what she was seeing. A newborn foal, practically blue with cold, partially covered by a discarded rain jacket. "Oh my God," she breathed, rushing forward to kneel beside the trembling creature. Her trained hands quickly assessed its condition, noting the labored breathing and dangerously low body temperature. The foal's attempts to rise were pitiful, its spindly legs too weak to support its weight. But what caught Maya's attention most was the unusual marking on its forehead, a perfect spiral pattern in white against its dark coat, almost like a cosmic swirl. Without hesitation, Maya shrugged off her own weatherproof jacket, wrapping it securely around the foal. "You're not dying tonight, little one," she promised, her voice firm with determination. "Not on my watch." The journey back to her cabin was grueling. The storm seemed determined to stop them, but Maya pressed on, half carrying, half guiding the struggling newborn. Her mind raced with questions. Who would abandon a foal in such conditions? The expensive rain jacket left behind suggested this wasn't a case of a wild horse giving birth. Someone had deliberately left this creature to die. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Finally reaching her cabin, Maya quickly transformed her living room into an emergency treatment area. She had done this countless times for injured wildlife. But something about this foal struck a deeper chord. As she worked to raise its body temperature and clear its airways, she couldn't shake the feeling that this night would change everything. Hours passed as Maya fought to stabilize the foal. She administered fluids, massaged its muscles to improve circulation, and used her own body heat to warm it when necessary. Dawn was breaking when the foal finally took its first steady breath, its eyes focusing on Maya with surprising clarity. "You're a fighter, aren't you?" she whispered, stroking its damp coat. The spiral marking seemed to shimmer in the early morning light. "I think I'll call you Cosmos, because you're as mysterious as the stars themselves." As the storm subsided and morning light filtered through the windows, Maya began a more thorough examination. The foal's condition told a story. This was no ordinary horse. The fine bone structure, the distinctive head shape, this was a thoroughbred, and an expensive one at that. Its health issues were evident: underdeveloped lungs, weak joints, and what felt like a slight heart murmur. But there was something else, something in its eyes that spoke of an indomitable spirit. Maya's satellite phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was Dr. James Harrison, her mentor from veterinary school, and one of the few people who still kept in touch with her self-imposed exile. "Maya, are you all right?" That storm was brutal. "I'm fine, James," she replied, her eyes never leaving the foal. "But I need your help. I've got a situation here." As she described the foal's condition, Dr. Harrison's voice grew serious. "Maya, this sounds like a Silvercrest foal. Victoria Sterling's breeding program is the only one in that area, producing thoroughbreds of that caliber." Maya's blood ran cold. Everyone knew Victoria Sterling's reputation for perfection and her ruthlessness in maintaining it. "They left it to die, James, in the storm." "Be careful," he warned. "Sterling has powerful lawyers and a mean streak. When it comes to her breeding program, if you're going to help that foal, you need to do it quietly." Maya looked at Cosmos, who had managed to stand and was now taking tentative steps around her living room. Despite its weakness, there was a determination in each movement that touched something deep in her soul. "I'm not just going to help it survive, James," she said softly. "I'm going to help it thrive. There's something special here. I can feel it." After ending the call, Maya began formulating a plan. The first 72 hours would be critical. She created a chart to track vital signs, developed a feeding schedule, and began researching alternative therapies that might help strengthen the foal's constitution. As she worked, she talked constantly to Cosmos, her voice gentle but firm. "Everyone has a story to tell," she murmured, measuring out herbal supplements. "And yours is just beginning. They thought they were writing your ending, but they don't. Get to decide that. You do." Maya's unique approach to rehabilitation went beyond traditional veterinary medicine. Years of working with wildlife had taught her that healing wasn't just about treating physical symptoms. It was about nurturing the spirit. She believed every creature had an innate will to survive, a force that, if properly supported, could overcome seemingly impossible odds. The first night was the hardest. Cosmos struggled with breathing difficulties, requiring Maya to stay awake, monitoring every labored breath. She used techniques she had developed for injured birds, adapting them for the foal: gentle chest physiotherapy, carefully timed breathing exercises, and herbal steam treatments to help clear the airways. During one particularly difficult moment, when Cosmos seemed to be losing strength, Maya found herself singing softly, an old lullaby her mother used to sing to her. To her amazement, the foal's breathing steadied, its eyes fixed on her face, as if drawing strength from her presence. "That's it," she encouraged, continuing to hum. "You're stronger than they know. We're going to prove them all wrong." As dawn approached, Maya noticed something remarkable. Despite its physical weakness, Cosmos showed an unusual awareness of its surroundings. When she moved around the cabin, its eyes followed her with an intelligence that seemed beyond its years. Even more striking was its determination. Every time it fell, attempting to walk, it would struggle back up, its legs trembling, but its spirit unbroken. The rain jacket left with the foal provided another clue to its origin: the expensive material, and custom embroidery confirmed Dr. Harrison's suspicion. This was indeed a Silvercrest foal. Maya carefully stored the jacket away, knowing it might be important evidence if things ever came to a legal battle. As the morning progressed, Maya began receiving her regular visitors, local farmers bringing injured wildlife they'd found. She usually welcomed these visits, but now she found herself being protective, keeping Cosmos hidden in a back room. She knew that word of a Silvercrest foal would spread quickly in their small community, and she wasn't ready for that attention. Not yet. Between caring for her other charges and tending to Cosmos, Maya began documenting everything. She took photographs, recorded vital signs, and kept detailed notes about every treatment and response. Something told her this story was bigger than just saving one foal. It was about challenging a system that valued perfection over potential, profit over compassion. As she watched Cosmos finally drift into a peaceful sleep, Maya allowed herself to imagine the future. She saw beyond the current weakness to what this horse could become, not just physically, but as a symbol of resilience and the power of second chances. "Sleep well, little warrior," she whispered, adjusting the heating lamp. "Tomorrow we start proving the world wrong." As dawn painted the sky in gentle hues of pink and gold, Maya's small cabin transformed into an intensive care unit for the struggling foal. Every breath Cosmos took seemed like a victory, each small movement a testament to its will to live. Maya had converted her living room into a makeshift stable, with soft hay spread across the floor and warming lamps strategically placed to maintain the perfect temperature. The morning brought new challenges as Maya noticed Cosmos's breathing becoming more labored. Drawing from her experience with wildlife rehabilitation, she quickly prepared a nebulizer treatment using a combination of natural eucalyptus and medicinal herbs. As she administered the treatment, her mind wandered to the countless times she'd helped injured eagles strengthen their wings or nursed orphaned wolf cubs back to health. But something about this foal was different. Its eyes held a wisdom that seemed to transcend its few days of life. "You know what they say about you, don't you?" Maya spoke softly, massaging Cosmos's chest to help with breathing. They said you were too weak to live, but I see something they missed. I see a fighter. A knock at the door startled both of them. Maya opened it to find Sarah Chen, a local herbalist who had become one of her closest friends in the valley. Sarah's eyes widened at the sight of the foal in Maya's living room. "So the rumors are true," Sarah whispered, setting down her basket of herbs. "Word spreading about a missing Silvercrest foal. Maya, do you know what you're getting into?" Maya continued her gentle massage of Cosmos's chest. "I know exactly what I'm getting into, Sarah, and I need your help." Sarah approached cautiously, her experienced eyes taking in the foal's condition. As a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, she had often helped Maya develop alternative treatments for injured wildlife. "Tell me what you need." Together they began crafting a holistic treatment plan. Sarah's knowledge of ancient healing practices complemented Maya's veterinary training perfectly. They created special herbal poultices for Cosmos's weak joints, developed a breathing treatment schedule, and formulated a nutrient-rich formula to supplement the foal's diet. "These herbs," Sarah explained, grinding fresh ginger root, "have been used for centuries to strengthen the heart and lungs. Combined with your modern treatments, they might give this little one the boost it needs." As they worked, Maya shared the story of finding Cosmos in the storm. Sarah's expression darkened. Victoria Sterling's reputation for perfection has always come at a price, but abandoning a newborn in those conditions, that's beyond cruel. "It's not just cruel," Maya replied, watching Cosmos attempt to stand again. "It's short-sighted. Look at that determination. They saw weakness, but I see potential." The day progressed with small victories. Cosmos managed to stand for longer. Periods, its breathing became slightly less labored, and it began showing interest in its surroundings. Maya documented every improvement, no matter how small, knowing that each step forward was a triumph over the death sentence it had been given. Late in the afternoon, another unexpected visitor arrived. Dr. James Harrison had driven 3 hours from his clinic after hearing Maya's story. The distinguished veterinarian knelt beside Cosmos, his experienced hands gentle as he conducted a thorough examination. "The heart murmur is there," he confirmed, "but it's not as severe as I feared. The lung development is concerning, but—" He paused, watching as Cosmos nuzzled Maya's hand. "There's something remarkable about this one's spirit." "Can you help us, James?" Maya asked, her voice hopeful. Dr. Harrison nodded slowly. "I'll do more than that. I'll be your witness if Sterling tries anything. What they did was not just morally wrong, it was illegal. But Maya," he added, his expression serious, "if you're going to do this, you need to do it right. This foal could be evidence in a criminal case." Maya spent the rest of the day turning her cabin into a proper rehabilitation center. James helped. Her set up monitoring equipment he'd brought from his clinic, while Sarah organized her herbs and medicines. Together, they created a comprehensive care plan that combined the best of modern veterinary medicine with traditional healing practices. As evening approached, Maya received an unexpected call from Jake, the young stable hand who had left his jacket with Cosmos. Speaking in hushed tones, he shared valuable information about the foal's parentage and the events leading to its abandonment. "I can't be directly involved," he whispered, "but I'll help however I can. What they did, it wasn't right." That night, as Maya sat beside Cosmos, she began recording a video diary. Day 1 of our journey. She spoke softly into her phones. In camera. They said you were too weak to live, too flawed to be worthy, but they didn't see what I see. A spirit stronger than any pedigree, a heart bigger than any obstacle. She turned the camera to show Cosmos attempting to nurse from a bottle, its determination evident in every movement. This isn't just about saving one foal, Maya continued. It's about challenging a system that values perfection over potential, profit over compassion. Every time you stand, every breath you take, you're proving them wrong. The moon rose over the valley, casting silver light through the windows. Maya had created a comfortable bed on the floor next to Cosmos, unwilling to leave its side. As she settled in for the night, the foal's breathing finally steady and strong, she felt a profound sense of purpose. "You know what makes a champion," she whispered to the drowsy foal. "It's not perfect genes or flawless conformation. It's heart. It's the will to rise every time you fall, to keep going when everyone else has given up. And you, my little warrior, have more heart than any horse I've ever met." Cosmos nickered softly in response, its spiral marking seeming to glow in the moonlight. Maya smiled, knowing that their journey was just beginning. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, in this peaceful moment, she allowed herself to dream of the future, of a day when this discarded foal would show the world the true meaning of strength. "Rest now," she murmured, gently stroking Cosmos's neck. "Tomorrow we start proving all of them wrong. Together we're going to rewrite your story, and it's going to be more beautiful than anyone could have imagined." The first rays of morning, sunlight filtered through the cabin windows, finding Maya already awake and preparing Cosmos's morning treatments. The foal's progress over the past few days had been nothing short of miraculous, each small victory adding to Maya's growing conviction that she had made the right choice that stormy night. "Today's a big day," Maya announced, mixing a special blend of herbs into Cosmos's morning formula. The foal's ears perked up at her voice, its dark eyes following her movements with remarkable intelligence. "We're going to try something new." Maya had spent hours researching alternative rehabilitation techniques, drawing inspiration from various healing traditions around the world. Today, she would begin implementing a unique therapy program she had developed specifically for Cosmos, one that would challenge conventional wisdom about treating defective horses. Dr. Harrison arrived early, carrying new equipment and medical supplies. "I've been reviewing the latest research on equine cardiac development," he said, setting up a portable ultrasound machine. "There are some promising studies about natural strengthening techniques." As they examined Cosmos together, both were amazed by the improvements. The heart murmur, while still present, had stabilized. The foal's breathing was stronger, and its legs, though still weak, showed increasing stability. "Watch this," Maya said, demonstrating a gentle exercise she had developed. Using soft touches and vocal cues, she encouraged Cosmos to move in specific ways that would strengthen its core muscles without straining its heart. "Fascinating," Dr. Harrison murmured, taking notes. "You're essentially teaching the foal to compensate for its weaknesses by developing alternative muscle groups. This could revolutionize how we treat similar cases." Sarah arrived later with fresh herbs and an exciting discovery. "I found references in ancient texts to a traditional treatment for weak-hearted horses," she explained, showing them carefully. "Preserved scrolls. It involves specific pressure points and movement patterns combined with herbal treatments. The three of them work together to integrate these ancient techniques with modern medical practices, creating a comprehensive rehabilitation program that would address both Cosmos's physical and emotional needs. Maya's cabin became a hub of healing innovation. She set up different stations around her property, each designed to challenge and strengthen Cosmos in unique ways. A gentle slope became a natural therapy ramp, helping build leg strength. A series of scattered hay piles encouraged the foal to move in varying patterns, developing balance and coordination. But it was in the afternoon that Maya introduced her most revolutionary idea. Drawing from her experience with injured wildlife, she had noticed how animals in nature adapted to overcome limitations. Inspired by this, she began teaching Cosmos to move in ways that no traditional trainer would have considered. "They think there's only one way for a horse to run," she explained to Sarah, who watched in amazement as Maya guided Cosmos through a series of unconventional movements. "But nature finds a way. We're not trying to force Cosmos to conform to their standards. We're helping him discover his own strength." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. While working with Cosmos in the meadow, Maya noticed how the foal naturally shifted its weight to compensate for its weaker legs. Instead of correcting this imperfect gait, she began encouraging it, helping Cosmos develop a unique running style that actually put less strain on its heart. "Look at that!" Dr. Harrison exclaimed, filming the session. "By adapting its gait, it's actually achieving better oxygen efficiency. This could be groundbreaking." Word of Maya's innovative rehabilitation work began to spread through the local community. Other veterinarians and animal healers started visiting, bringing their own insights and expertise. Each visitor added something new to Cosmos's recovery program, creating a tapestry of healing wisdom that transcended traditional boundaries. Jake, the compassionate stable hand from Silvercrest, continued providing valuable information through secret phone calls. He reported that Victoria Sterling was furious about the missing foal, but with no evidence of its survival, she had been forced to move on with her breeding program. "She's already planning the next breeding season," Jake whispered, "but some of us haven't forgotten. We're rooting for you and Cosmos." Maya documented everything meticulously, creating detailed records of each treatment, every improvement, and all the innovative techniques they developed. "This isn't just about saving one horse," she explained to her growing circle of supporters. "It's about changing how we view perfection and potential." One evening, as the sun set over the valley, Maya sat in the meadow watching Cosmos explore its surroundings. The foal's movements, while different from traditional horse gaits, had developed into something uniquely beautiful. A fluid, adaptive way of moving that worked perfectly for its specific needs. "You're teaching us all something important," Maya said softly, as Cosmos returned to nuzzle her hand. "Strength doesn't always look the way we expect it to. Sometimes the most beautiful things come from learning to work with our challenges, not against them." Sarah, who had stayed to help with the evening treatments, nodded in agreement. "In Chinese medicine, we believe that imperfection is often the source of greatest potential. A crack in a vessel lets the light shine through." As they prepared for another night of monitoring and care, Maya reflected on how much had changed in just a few days. Her small cabin had transformed into a sanctuary of healing innovation, where traditional boundaries between modern and ancient medicine dissolved, in service of one goal, helping a discarded foal find its strength. Tomorrow, Maya told Cosmos as they settled in for the night, we're going to try something even more extraordinary, because that's what you are, extraordinary, not despite your differences, but because of them. The foal's spiral marking seemed to shimmer in the fading light, a reminder that sometimes the most magical things in life don't fit into neat categories or predetermined standards. As Maya made her final notes for the day, she added a personal observation. Today I realized that we're not just rehabilitating a horse. We're redefining what it means to be strong, to be valuable, to be perfect in one's own unique way. The night settled over the valley, bringing with it a sense of possibility. In the quiet darkness, Maya could hear Cosmos's steady breathing, each inhale and exhale a testament to the incredible resilience of life when given a chance to flourish. In its own way, tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, in this peaceful moment, Maya knew they were creating something revolutionary. A new way of seeing potential in places others had overlooked. As weeks turned into months, Maya's innovative rehabilitation program began showing remarkable results. Cosmos, once deemed too weak to survive, had developed into a unique and extraordinary creature. The foal's unusual spiral marking had grown, more pronounced as its coat developed, creating an almost mythical appearance that matched its unconventional journey. One crisp morning, Maya stood in her observation area, carefully documenting Cosmos's latest achievements. The foal had developed a distinctive way of moving that perfectly complemented its physical structure. Instead of fighting against its limitations, Cosmos had learned to harness them, creating a fluid motion that was both efficient and beautiful. "You're not just surviving anymore," Maya observed, watching as Cosmos navigated the training course she had designed. "You're thriving in your own unique way." Dr. Harrison's latest visit brought exciting news. After reviewing Cosmos's progress charts and recent medical tests, he couldn't contain his amazement. "The improvement in cardiac function is remarkable," he declared, studying the ultrasound results. "The heart has actually adapted, developing alternative pathways to compensate for the original defect. I've never seen anything like it." Maya's rehabilitation program had evolved into something revolutionary. She had created a series of exercises that worked with Cosmos's natural tendencies rather than against them. The meadow behind her cabin had been transformed into an innovative training ground, with different zones designed to challenge and strengthen specific aspects of the foal's development. Sarah's contribution to the program had proven invaluable. Her knowledge of traditional healing practices had led to the discovery of ancient techniques that, when combined with modern medicine, produced extraordinary results. "In traditional Chinese medicine," she explained during one of their sessions, "we believe that what others see as weakness often contains hidden strength. Cosmos is living proof of this wisdom." The most remarkable development came during an unexpected moment. Maya had been working with Cosmos on the gentle slope behind the cabin when a deer suddenly appeared from the forest. Instead of showing fear, Cosmos displayed an unusual interest. Maya watched in amazement as the foal began mimicking the deer's graceful movements, instinctively adapting them to suit its own physical capabilities. "That's it," Maya exclaimed, quickly documenting this breakthrough. "We've been so focused on traditional equine movement patterns, but you're showing us a whole new way to think about adaptive motion." This observation led to a complete revision of their training approach. Maya began incorporating movements inspired by various woodland creatures, allowing Cosmos to develop a unique hybrid style that maximized its strengths while protecting its vulnerable areas. The result was something entirely new, a way of moving that was both efficient and mesmerizing to watch. Word of Cosmos's extraordinary progress began to spread beyond their immediate circle. Wildlife photographers who frequently visited Maya's rehabilitation center started sharing stories about the remarkable foal that moved like no other horse. Their photos captured Cosmos's unique beauty, showcasing how its supposed imperfections had transformed into distinctive advantages. One afternoon, a renowned equine behavior specialist, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, arrived unannounced at Maya's cabin. She had heard rumors about a revolutionary rehabilitation program and had come to see for herself. Maya watched nervously as Dr. Rodriguez observed Cosmos's training session. "This is extraordinary," Dr. Rodriguez finally declared, her professional demeanor breaking into genuine excitement. "You're not just rehabilitating this horse. You're pioneering a whole new approach to equine development. These adaptive techniques could help countless other animals previously considered beyond help." The validation from such a respected expert gave Maya renewed confidence in her unconventional methods. She began compiling her observations and techniques into a formal study, hoping to share their discoveries with the wider veterinary community. During this time, Cosmos's personality continued to flourish. The foal displayed a remarkable intelligence and adaptability that went far beyond physical development. It showed an unusual ability to problem solve, often finding creative ways to accomplish tasks that its physical limitations might have made difficult. "Watch this," Maya demonstrated to Sarah one evening, setting up a series of obstacles. Instead of trying to jump over them like a traditional horse would, Cosmos had learned to navigate them, using a unique combination of movements that required less strain on its heart while achieving the same result. "It's like watching poetry in motion," Sarah remarked, mesmerized by the display. "Cosmos has turned adaptation into an art form. The changes weren't just physical. Cosmos had developed a strong bond not only with Maya, but with all the wildlife that frequented the rehabilitation center. The foal seemed to have a particular affinity for injured animals, often standing guard near their recovery enclosures, as if understanding their vulnerability. One particularly memorable incident occurred when a young eagle with an injured wing was brought to Maya's center. While other horses might have been spooked by the predatory bird, Cosmos showed remarkable curiosity and gentleness. Maya documented how the foal would stand near the eagle's enclosure, studying its movements during physical therapy sessions. "You're teaching us all something profound," Maya reflected, watching this unusual friendship develop. True strength isn't about conforming to predetermined standards. It's about finding your own way to shine. As Cosmos grew stronger, Maya began receiving inquiries from progressive equestrian centers interested in learning about her rehabilitation methods. While she was careful to protect Cosmos's identity, she began sharing some of their breakthrough techniques, hoping to help other animals with similar challenges. Jake, their inside contact at Silvercrest, continued providing valuable updates. Victoria Sterling had written off the lost foal as a necessary sacrifice to maintain her program's standards, never imagining that her discarded failure was becoming a symbol of revolutionary change in equine rehabilitation. Some of the younger staff have started questioning her methods, Jake reported during one of his secret calls. Your work with Cosmos is making people rethink everything we thought we knew about breeding and development. One evening, as Maya sat reviewing her documentation of Cosmos's journey, she realized they had created something far more significant than just a rehabilitation success story. They had demonstrated that with creativity, dedication, and an open mind, perceived weaknesses could become unique strengths. You're not just surviving, she told Cosmos as they watched the sunset together. You're showing the world a new way to think about perfection. Every challenge you've overcome, every adaptation you've developed, is proof that excellence comes in many forms. The spiral marking on Cosmos's forehead caught the last rays of sunlight, seeming to glow with an inner fire. Maya saw it as a symbol of their journey, a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful patterns in life aren't straight lines, but spirals, leading us to unexpected places and remarkable discoveries. As night fell over the valley, Maya added a final note to her journal. Today I realized that Cosmos isn't just defying the odds, he's redefining them. In choosing to save this one imperfect foal, we've uncovered principles that could transform how we think about rehabilitation, adaptation, and the very nature of strength itself. The transformation of Cosmos had reached a remarkable turning point as summer painted the valley in vibrant hues. The once fragile foal had grown into a yearling whose unique way of moving captivated everyone who witnessed it. Maya's innovative rehabilitation program had evolved into something revolutionary, drawing attention from unexpected quarters. One morning, as Maya documented Cosmos's latest progress, she received an intriguing email from Dr. Rodriguez. The equine behavior specialist had been sharing their groundbreaking methods with colleagues at a prestigious veterinary conference in Switzerland, and the response had been overwhelming. Research facilities around the world were interested in Maya's adaptive training techniques. Think about what this means, Dr. Rodriguez wrote. Your work with Cosmos could revolutionize how we approach equine rehabilitation globally. This isn't just about one horse anymore. It's about changing the entire paradigm of what we consider normal development. Maya sat in her observation post, watching Cosmos demonstrate exactly what Dr. Rodriguez meant. The yearling had developed an extraordinary way of compensating for its cardiac challenges, using a combination of movements that seemed to defy conventional equine biomechanics. Where most horses would power through obstacles with pure strength, Cosmos had learned to use momentum and balance in ways that minimized cardiac strain while maximizing efficiency. Sarah arrived with fresh herbs and exciting news from her recent travels to an international traditional medicine conference. The ancient scrolls weren't the only ones that documented alternative healing methods for horses, she explained, spreading out copies of historical texts. I found similar references in Indian Ayurvedic texts and Native American healing traditions. It's like different cultures throughout history understood that there are multiple paths to strength. They spent the morning incorporating these newfound techniques into Cosmos's training routine. The yearling showed an uncanny ability to adapt to each new challenge, often improving upon the exercises in unexpected ways. Maya noticed how Cosmos would observe wildlife in the meadow, particularly deer and wolves, incorporating elements of their movements into its own unique style. Dr. Harrison's latest visit brought more validation of their unconventional approach. The cardiac specialists he had consulted were amazed by the latest test results. The heart hasn't just adapted, he explained, showing Maya the detailed scans. It's actually developed new pathways. This could change everything we thought we knew about cardiac development in horses. The breakthrough that truly demonstrated Cosmos's extraordinary development came during an unexpected thunderstorm. As lightning illuminated the sky, Maya worried the severe weather might trigger anxiety in the yearling, given its traumatic first night. Instead, Cosmos showed remarkable composure, even helping to calm other animals at the rehabilitation center. "You've turned your greatest challenge into your unique gift," Maya observed, watching as Cosmos stood protectively near a recently rescued fox cub, its presence somehow soothing the frightened animal. The spiral marking on its forehead seemed to shimmer with each lightning flash, a reminder of how far they'd come from that stormy night. Their work had begun attracting attention from progressive elements within the equestrian community. A group of independent breeders, frustrated with the industry's narrow focus on conventional standards, reached out to Maya about incorporating her adaptive training methods into their programs. "We're tired of seeing potential thrown away because it doesn't fit a predetermined mold," one breeder explained during a visit. "What you've achieved with Cosmos proves there's another way." Maya's rehabilitation center had evolved into a living laboratory of innovation. She had created specialized training zones that challenged traditional thinking about equine development. The gentle slope behind her cabin had been transformed into a complex training course that encouraged adaptive movement patterns. Each element was designed to help animals discover their own unique ways of building strength. The most significant validation of their work came from an unexpected source. A renowned equine sports medicine researcher, Dr. Chen, arrived from Europe to study Cosmos's unique adaptation patterns. Her preliminary findings suggested that the yearling's alternative movement style actually resulted in less long-term joint stress than traditional equine gaits. This could revolutionize how we think about horse biomechanics, Dr. Chen explained, reviewing her data. Cosmos isn't just compensating for weakness, he's pioneering a more efficient way of moving that could benefit all horses. During this time, Maya received concerning news from Jake at Silvercrest. Victoria Sterling had learned about the innovative rehabilitation program gaining attention in the valley, though she didn't yet know it involved her discarded foal. She had dispatched investigators to look into what she considered potential competition. "Be careful," Jake warned. "She's not just worried about her reputation now. She's afraid someone might be developing better methods than hers." The warning only strengthened Maya's resolve. She increased security at the center while continuing to document their groundbreaking work. Each day brought new discoveries as Cosmos continued to challenge conventional wisdom about what was possible. One particularly memorable breakthrough occurred during a session with a group of veterinary students who had come to study their methods. Cosmos was demonstrating its unique problem-solving abilities when a challenge arose. The yearling encountered a new obstacle course designed to test advanced movement patterns. Instead of attempting to navigate it like a traditional horse, Cosmos paused, studied the layout, and then proceeded to create an entirely new way of moving through the course. The students watched in amazement as the horse combined elements from different natural movements, the grace of a deer, the agility of a wolf, and the balance of a mountain goat, into something entirely unique. This is why we need to rethink everything we know about rehabilitation, Maya explained to the awestruck students. When we stop trying to force animals to conform to our standards and instead help them discover their own strength, miraculous things happen. The documentation of their journey had grown into a comprehensive study that was beginning to attract academic interest. Universities were requesting permission to include their methods in advanced veterinary programs. Maya's approach to rehabilitation was being hailed as a potential paradigm shift in equine medicine. Sarah, who had become an integral part of their program, summed it up perfectly during one of their evening discussions. What you and Cosmos have created goes beyond rehabilitation. You've shown that what others see as limitations can become catalysts for innovation. Every challenge has become an opportunity to pioneer something new. As Maya sat writing her evening observations, she reflected on how far they'd come. The spiral marking on Cosmos's forehead caught the last rays of sunlight, seeming to glow with an inner fire that matched the yearling's indomitable spirit. "You're not just proving them wrong anymore," she told Cosmos as they watched the sunset together. "You're showing the world a new way to think about strength, about potential, about what's possible when we dare to look beyond conventional wisdom." In her journal that night, Maya wrote, "Today I realized that our journey isn't just about saving one horse or developing new rehabilitation techniques. It's about challenging the very notion of what we consider perfect, about showing that sometimes the most extraordinary achievements come from embracing our unique paths rather than following established ones." The next morning would bring new challenges and discoveries, but for now, in the peaceful evening light, Maya knew they were part of something truly revolutionary. A movement that would change how the world viewed potential, perfection, and the countless paths to greatness. The dawning of autumn brought unexpected developments to Maya's sanctuary. The crisp morning air carried whispers of change as she stood in her observation area, watching Cosmos demonstrate its latest breakthrough. The yearling had mastered a series of movements that defied traditional equine biomechanics, combining fluidity with extraordinary efficiency. A letter arrived that morning that would change everything. The International Equine Research Foundation had taken notice of their groundbreaking work. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had submitted their case study for consideration at the upcoming Global Symposium on Adaptive Training and Rehabilitation in Geneva. "Your methods aren't just innovative," the letter read. "They're revolutionary. We believe your work with Cosmos could reshape the future of equine rehabilitation. We would like to invite you to present your findings at the symposium." Maya's hands trembled as she read the invitation. This was an opportunity to share their discoveries with the world's leading experts in equine medicine and rehabilitation. But it also meant stepping into the spotlight, something that could draw unwanted attention from Victoria Sterling and Silvercrest Stables. Dr. Harrison arrived later that morning, bringing more extraordinary news. The cardiac specialists, who had been monitoring Cosmos's progress, had made a stunning discovery. The yearling's heart hadn't just adapted to its condition, it had developed an entirely new pattern of functioning that was actually more efficient than traditional equine cardiac systems under certain conditions. "It's like watching evolution in action," Dr. Harrison explained, showing Maya the latest scans. "Cosmos's body has found ways to optimize performance that we never thought possible. This could help countless other animals with similar conditions." The Rehabilitation Center had become a hub of innovation, attracting researchers and specialists from around the world. Each visitor brought new perspectives and insights. contributing to an ever-evolving understanding of adaptive development. Maya had created a comprehensive database of their findings, documenting every breakthrough and unexpected discovery. One particularly significant development came during a visit from Dr. Isabel Chen, who had returned with specialized motion capture equipment. As they recorded Cosmos's unique movement patterns, they discovered something remarkable. The yearling had developed a gait that utilized gravity and momentum in ways that conventional horses never did. "Look at this," Dr. Chen pointed to the 3D renderings. While normal horses rely primarily on muscular power, Cosmos has learned to harness natural forces to minimize energy expenditure. It's absolutely brilliant from a biomechanical perspective. Sarah's contribution to their program had expanded beyond traditional medicine. She had begun collaborating with indigenous healers from various cultures, gathering ancient wisdom about alternative approaches to animal rehabilitation. Their combined knowledge had led to breakthroughs in understanding how different bodies could achieve the same goals through various means. In many traditional cultures, Sarah explained during one of their sessions, what we call disabilities were often seen as doorways to different kinds of abilities. Cosmos is proving this ancient wisdom correct. The yearling's intelligence continued to astound everyone who worked with it. Cosmos had developed an uncanny ability to adapt exercises to its own needs, often improving upon the techniques they designed. It showed particular skill in helping other injured animals at the center, seeming to understand instinctively how to encourage them to move in ways that aided their recovery. News from Silvercrest came through Jake, who reported increasing tension at the facility. Victoria Sterling had become obsessed with the growing reputation of Maya's rehabilitation center. "She's planning to send people to investigate," he warned. "She feels threatened by your success." Maya knew they needed to prepare for eventual confrontation, but she refused to let fear deter them from their work. Instead, she focused on documenting everything meticulously, building an irrefutable case for the value of their alternative approach to rehabilitation. A breakthrough moment came during a demonstration for visiting veterinary students. Cosmos was showing them how it had learned to navigate complex obstacles when a young deer wandered into the training area. Instead of spooking, the yearling began interacting with the wild animal in a way that left everyone speechless. "It's like watching two different species learn from each other," one student remarked, filming the interaction. The deer and horse moved together in an impromptu dance, each adapting to the other's natural movements. This unexpected demonstration became a powerful example of how traditional boundaries in rehabilitation could be transcended. The spiral marking on Cosmos's forehead had become more pronounced as the yearling matured, creating an almost mythical appearance that matched its extraordinary capabilities. Photographers and artists frequently visited the center, captured by the unique beauty of a horse that moved like no other. One evening, as Maya reviewed their progress with her team, Dr. Rodriguez made an observation that captured the essence of their journey. "What you've created here isn't just a rehabilitation program," she said. "It's a complete paradigm shift in how we think about potential. Cosmos isn't succeeding despite its differences. It's succeeding because of them." The invitation to the Geneva Symposium required careful preparation. Maya worked with her team to compile their findings into a comprehensive presentation that would challenge traditional thinking about equine rehabilitation. They included detailed case studies, biomechanical analyses, and compelling evidence of how their methods could benefit the entire field. As they prepared for this next big step, Maya received an unexpected visit from an elderly Native American healer who had heard about their work. The woman spent hours observing Cosmos, finally, sharing a perspective that added new depth to their understanding. In our traditions, she explained, we believe that what others see as imperfection is often the Great Spirit's way of showing us new paths. This horse isn't just healing itself, it's teaching us all how to see with new eyes. The truth of these words was demonstrated daily as Cosmos continued to develop in ways that defied conventional wisdom. The yearling had become not just a success story, but a pioneer in showing how perceived limitations could become pathways to extraordinary capabilities. Maya's evening journal entry captured the magnitude of what they had achieved. Today, I realized that what we're doing here goes beyond proving people wrong about one horse. We're challenging fundamental assumptions about what constitutes strength, ability, and success. Cosmos isn't just surviving, it's showing us all a new way to thrive. As autumn painted the valley in brilliant colors, Maya and her team continued their groundbreaking work, knowing that each day brought them closer to sharing their discoveries with the world. The journey that began on a stormy night with the discarded foal had evolved into a movement that promised to transform how the world viewed potential, perfection, and the countless paths to excellence. The spiral marking on Cosmos's forehead caught, the setting sun seeming to glow with an inner light that matched the yearling's indomitable spirit. In that moment, Maya knew they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. They had created something too powerful to be denied, a new understanding of how strength could manifest in unexpected ways, and how perceived weaknesses could become the source of revolutionary change. The morning of the Geneva Symposium dawned with a mix of anticipation and tension. Maya stood in her hotel room, reviewing her presentation one last time, while live-streaming footage from the rehabilitation center showed Cosmos going through its morning routine under Sarah's watchful eye. The yearling's movements, now fluid and confident, bore little resemblance to the fragile foal they had rescued that stormy night. The Grand Palais Conference Center buzzed with activity as the world's leading equine specialists gathered for what would become a landmark event in veterinary medicine. Maya's presentation was scheduled as the keynote address, a recognition of how their unconventional methods had captured the attention of the international community. Dr. Elena Rodriguez met Maya at the entrance, her expression both excited and concerned. "Victoria Sterling is here," she whispered. "She's in the front row with her legal team. Someone must have tipped her off about Cosmos." Maya felt her heart race but steadied herself. They had prepared for this moment, documenting every step of their journey with meticulous care. The truth of their work could withstand any scrutiny. As Maya took the stage, the massive screen behind her illuminated with the first images of Cosmos, from that stormy night to the present. The audience fell silent as she began her presentation, titled "Redefining Potential, a Revolution in Adaptive Rehabilitation." "Ladies and gentlemen," Maya began, her voice clear and confident, "what you're about to see will challenge everything we thought we knew about equine development, adaptation, and the very nature of what we consider perfect. The presentation unfolded like a story, backed by hard scientific data. Maya showed how Cosmos's supposedly defective heart had developed new pathways, creating a more efficient circulatory system. She demonstrated how the yearling's unique gait had evolved to maximize energy efficiency while minimizing cardiac strain. Dr. Isabel Chen joined her on stage to present the biomechanical analysis, showing through 3D modeling how Cosmos's movement patterns were actually more efficient than traditional equine gaits under certain conditions. The audience watched in amazement as the data revealed patterns that defied conventional wisdom. From her seat in the front row, Victoria Sterling's expression shifted from skepticism to disbelief as she recognized the distinctive spiral marking on the horse's forehead. Her whispered conference with her lawyers grew more intense as the presentation continued. Maya moved to the most powerful part of their findings: how Cosmos's adaptive techniques were already being successfully applied to other horses with similar conditions. Video footage showed several cases where their methods had helped animals that traditional rehabilitation had failed. "What we've discovered," Maya explained, "is that what we often dismiss as defects can become catalysts for extraordinary development. When we stop trying to force animals to conform to our predetermined standards and instead help them find their own path to strength, we unlock potential we never knew existed." The presentation concluded with live streaming footage of Cosmos, demonstrating its latest achievements. The audience watched in stunned silence as the yearling moved through a complex series of challenges with grace and efficiency that seemed almost impossible given its initial condition. As Maya finished speaking, the hall erupted in applause. But before the first question could be asked, Victoria Sterling stood up, her voice cutting through the acclaim. "That horse," she declared, "belongs to Silvercrest Stables. It was stolen from our facility." The room fell silent as Maya calmly responded, "You mean the foal you ordered abandoned in a storm because you deemed it too defective to live?" "We have documentation of everything, Ms. Sterling, including sworn statements from your own staff about the orders you gave that night." Dr. Harrison stepped forward, presenting copies of their comprehensive records, including the original medical evaluations, dated photographs, and testimonies. "This isn't just about ownership," he addressed the audience. "This is about challenging a system that throws away potential because it doesn't fit a narrow definition of value." The symposium organizers quickly convened an emergency ethics panel to review the situation. As evidence was presented, it became clear that Maya's rescue of Cosmos had not only saved a life, but had led to groundbreaking discoveries in equine rehabilitation. Victoria Sterling's lawyers attempted to argue for the return of the horse, citing breeding contracts and ownership rights. But they faced an unexpected challenge. The international nature of the symposium meant that experts from countries with strong animal welfare laws were present and vocal. Dr. Rodriguez presented additional evidence of how their methods were already being implemented in rehabilitation centers around the world. "The knowledge gained from this case has already saved countless animals," she testified. "This transcends questions of ownership. It's about advancing medical science and animal welfare." The panel's decision was unanimous. Not only would Cosmos remain with Maya, but they recommended a full investigation into Silvercrest's breeding practices. Victoria Sterling left the symposium in fury, but her threat to pursue legal action was met with an unexpected response. Offers from multiple animal rights organizations to support Maya's work. The symposium's closing ceremony took an unprecedented turn as the committee announced the establishment of a new research initiative inspired by their work. The Adaptive Rehabilitation Innovation Fund would support projects specifically focused on developing alternative approaches to animal rehabilitation. Maya's return to the rehabilitation center was met with celebration. Cosmos seemed to sense the significance of their victory, performing its unique movements with extra flair for the cameras that had gathered to document their homecoming. That evening, as the excitement settled, Maya sat with Sarah and Dr. Harrison, watching Cosmos move freely in the meadow. The yearling had attracted a small audience of wild deer who seemed fascinated by its unusual way of moving. "You know, what the most beautiful part of this is," Sarah observed. "It's not just about what we taught Cosmos, it's about what Cosmos taught us, about looking beyond our preconceptions, about finding strength in unexpected places." Dr. Harrison nodded, in agreement. "This is just the beginning. The principles we've discovered here could revolutionize how we approach rehabilitation across all species. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come from what others dismiss as broken." Maya watched as Cosmos continued. Its elegant dance with the deer, its spiral marking, catching the last rays of sunlight. The yearling had become more than just a success story. It was a living symbol of how perceived limitations could become the source of extraordinary innovation. "We did more than save one horse," Maya reflected, making her final notes of the day. "We proved that there are countless paths to excellence, that what makes us different can make us stronger, and that sometimes the most beautiful things in life don't fit into neat categories or predetermined standards." The stars began to appear in the darkening sky, and Maya thought about all the other animals out there waiting for someone to see their unique potential. Their journey had opened a door, challenging the world to look beyond conventional wisdom and see the extraordinary possibilities that exist when we dare to redefine what we consider perfect. In the aftermath of the Geneva Symposium, Maya's Rehabilitation Center underwent a remarkable transformation. The modest facility that had once been a quiet sanctuary had become a beacon of innovation, drawing visitors from around the world eager to learn about their groundbreaking approach to rehabilitation. One crisp morning, as golden sunlight filtered through the autumn leaves, Maya received an unexpected visitor. Alexander Bennett, director of the prestigious World Equine Performance Championships, arrived unannounced at her door. His presence sent a ripple of excitement through the facility. The WEPC was known for showcasing the most extraordinary equine achievements globally. "Ms. Rivers," Bennett began, his eyes fixed on Cosmos moving through its morning routine. "In the distance, what I've just witnessed challenges everything I thought I knew about equine capability. We want to create a special showcase at this year's championships, a demonstration that will change how the world views potential." The invitation was both thrilling and daunting. The WEPC had never before featured a horse that didn't meet traditional conformational standards. This would be a first, a chance to demonstrate on the world stage that excellence could take unexpected forms. Dr. Rodriguez, who had become a steadfast ally since Geneva, immediately began working with Maya to design a presentation that would highlight Cosmos's unique abilities. "This isn't just about showing what Cosmos can do," she explained during a planning session. "It's about demonstrating how different approaches to movement and strength can revolutionize our understanding." of performance. The preparation for the championships brought new challenges and discoveries. Maya and her team developed innovative ways to showcase how Cosmos's adaptations could actually be advantages. The yearling's unique gait, once considered a defect, had evolved into a remarkably efficient way of moving that conserved energy while maintaining speed. Sarah's contribution proved invaluable as they prepared for the showcase. She had been researching how various cultures throughout history had viewed and valued different types of movement in horses. In many ancient traditions, she explained, horses that moved differently were often considered sacred, blessed with special abilities that others couldn't understand. During this intensive training period, Cosmos continued to surprise them. The yearling showed an extraordinary ability to connect with the audience during practice sessions, seeming to understand the importance of demonstration. Its spiral marking, now more prominent than ever, caught the light in ways that made it appear almost luminescent during movement. News of their upcoming appearance at the WEPC spread quickly through the equestrian world. Victoria Sterling, still smarting from her defeat in Geneva, launched a media campaign questioning the legitimacy of featuring a defective horse at such a prestigious event. Her efforts, however, backfired spectacularly when journalists began investigating the story behind Cosmos's journey. Jake, their ally from Silvercrest, provided crucial information that helped counter Sterling's narrative. "She's afraid," he reported during a secure call, "not just of the bad publicity, but of what Cosmos represents, a complete challenge to her entire approach to breeding and training." As the championships approached, Maya worked with Dr. Chen to document exactly how Cosmos's unique movement patterns challenged conventional biomechanics. Their findings were revolutionary. The yearling had developed ways of using gravity and momentum that were actually more efficient than traditional equine gaits. "Look at these readings, Doctor," Chen explained, showing Maya the latest analysis. "Cosmos isn't just compensating for its cardiac condition. It's pioneered a new way of moving that could be beneficial for all horses under certain conditions." The team's preparation took an unexpected turn when they discovered that Cosmos had developed a remarkable ability to adapt its movements to different types of music. This led to a breakthrough in their presentation design. They would create a showcase that combined athletic demonstration with artistic expression. Maya spent countless hours working with Cosmos, refining their routine while being careful not to overtax the yearling's heart. Throughout their practice sessions, she noticed something extraordinary. Cosmos seemed to anticipate transitions in the music, adjusting its movements with an almost supernatural awareness of rhythm and timing. One evening, as they finished a particularly successful practice session, Dr. Harrison shared something remarkable from his latest cardiac scans. "The heart hasn't just adapted," he explained, pointing to the images. "It's developed a completely new pattern of functioning. We're seeing evidence of vascular development that we've never documented in horses before." This discovery led to another breakthrough in their understanding of adaptation. Cosmos hadn't just learned to work around its cardiac condition. Its body had found innovative ways to optimize blood flow and oxygen delivery. This revelation would have implications far beyond their immediate goals. As the day of the championships drew closer, Maya received messages of support from rehabilitation centers worldwide. Many had begun implementing their methods, reporting successful results with horses that would have once been considered beyond help. Cosmos had become a symbol of hope, proving that different didn't mean deficient. The morning before they were scheduled to leave for the championships, Maya found Cosmos in the meadow, moving in perfect synchronization with a group of deer that frequently visited the sanctuary. The sight crystallized something she had been trying to articulate throughout their journey. True excellence doesn't always look the way we expect it to. "You've taught us so much," she whispered to Cosmos as they prepared for their journey. "Now it's time to show the world what real strength looks like." That evening, as they loaded equipment for their trip, Maya received an unexpected call from a renowned horse whisperer who had been following their story. "What you've done," the elderly trainer said, "goes beyond rehabilitation. You've shown us that when we open our minds to different possibilities, we discover that nature has many paths to greatness." The night before their departure, Maya made a final entry in her journal. "Tomorrow, we take the next step in our journey. But we've already achieved something remarkable. We've proven that sometimes the most extraordinary achievements come from embracing what makes us different. Cosmos isn't just performing despite its challenges, it's soaring because of them." As stars filled the sky above the sanctuary, Maya watched Cosmos moving peacefully in the moonlight, its spiral marking gleaming like a beacon. They were about to step onto the world stage, carrying a message that transcended equestrian sports, that true potential often lies in the very things others dismiss as flaws. The next morning's dawn brought with it a sense of destiny. As they prepared for departure, Maya knew they weren't just going to a championship, they were going to challenge the world's understanding of what constitutes excellence, perfection, and strength. Cosmos had already transformed from a discarded foal into a pioneer of new possibilities. Now it was time to share that transformation with the world. The World Equine Performance Championships arena stood like a gleaming coliseum against the evening sky. Inside, thousands of spectators filled the stands, their excited chatter creating a symphony of anticipation. The most prestigious names in the equestrian world had gathered for what promised to be a revolutionary showcase. Maya stood in the preparation area, gently brushing Cosmos's coat as the yearling remained remarkably calm despite the electric atmosphere. The spiral marking on its forehead seemed to pulse with an inner light under the warm-up arena's illumination. Around them, other competitors stared with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. None had ever seen a horse move quite like Cosmos. Alexander Bennett approached, his expression serious. "Victoria Sterling's legal team is making last-minute attempts to block your performance," he informed them. "They're claiming it sets a dangerous precedent to showcase a horse with known cardiac issues. But don't worry, our medical panel has reviewed all your documentation. You're cleared to proceed." Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Chen had arrived early to set up their monitoring equipment. They weren't just there to ensure Cosmos's safety. They were documenting what promised to be a historic demonstration of adaptive excellence. Sensors placed strategically on Cosmos's body would provide real-time data about its unique movement patterns and cardiovascular responses. "Remember," Dr. Chen advised, checking the sensors one final time, "tonight isn't just about proving them wrong. It's about showing the world a new definition of right." Sarah had prepared a special blend of calming herbs, incorporating wisdom from multiple healing traditions. As she administered them, she noticed something remarkable. "Look at how the other horses are responding to Cosmos," she whispered to Maya. Indeed, the high-strung performance horses in neighboring stalls had grown noticeably calmer in Cosmos's presence. The championship's opening ceremony was a spectacular display of traditional equestrian excellence, powerful horses executing precise movements with flawless form. Maya watched as Victoria Sterling's latest champion performed, its movements technically perfect, but somehow mechanical, lacking the natural grace that had become Cosmos's hallmark. Finally, the moment arrived. The announcer's voice filled the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for something unprecedented. Tonight, we witness a performance that challenges our understanding of perfection itself. Maya led Cosmos into the arena, their entrance met with a hushed silence. The yearling's unique gait was immediately apparent, fluid, efficient, unlike anything the audience had seen before. The special lighting they had designed caught the spiral marking, creating an almost ethereal effect. Their showcase began with a demonstration of how Cosmos had adapted traditional dressage movements to accommodate its cardiac condition. Instead of forcing conventional forms, the yearling had developed its own way of achieving the same results, often with greater efficiency. "What you're witnessing," the announcer explained, while Maya and Cosmos moved through their routine, "is not just adaptation, but innovation. Each movement has been reimagined, optimized, perfected in a new way." The real breakthrough came during the musical portion of their presentation. The specially composed piece began soft and tentative, like the first moments of their journey, then built in complexity and power. Cosmos moved in perfect synchronization, its unique gait creating patterns that seemed to defy physics. In the VIP section, Victoria Sterling watched with growing disbelief as the horse she had condemned to death executed movements that her own champions couldn't match. The efficiency of Cosmos's adaptations had created something beyond traditional excellence. It was artistry born of necessity, strength forged from perceived weakness. Halfway through their performance, something extraordinary happened. A deer, attracted by the lights and music, had somehow found its way into the arena. While other horses might have spooked, Cosmos smoothly incorporated the unexpected visitor into their routine. The audience watched in amazement as horse and deer moved in natural harmony, creating an unplanned but magnificent demonstration of adaptive grace. The monitoring equipment was recording unprecedented data. Dr. Chen's tablets showed how Cosmos's unique movement patterns were actually more energy efficient than traditional gaits. The yearling had developed ways of using momentum and gravity that conventional training had never considered. "This is revolutionary," Dr. Rodriguez whispered, studying the real-time readings. "It's not just compensating for the cardiac condition. It's transcending traditional limitations of equine movement." As their performance reached its climax, Maya guided Cosmos through a series of movements that showcased the full spectrum of their discoveries. Each transition demonstrated how perceived limitations could become sources of innovation, how different could mean better. The final sequence was their most daring, a display of natural movement that combined elements from various wildlife they had observed at the sanctuary. Cosmos flowed between different gaits with liquid grace, demonstrating how its adaptive style could accomplish things impossible for traditionally trained horses. When they finished, the arena fell silent for one breathless moment before erupting in thunderous applause. The standing ovation lasted for minutes, but Maya's attention was focused solely on Cosmos, whose eyes shone with quiet confidence, its breathing steady and strong. Alexander Bennett approached them in the center of the arena, microphone in hand. "In all my years in equestrian sports," he announced, his voice thick with emotion, "I've never seen anything like this. Tonight, we haven't just witnessed a performance. We've seen the future of what's possible when we dare to reimagine perfection." Victoria Sterling had disappeared from the VIP section, but her absence only highlighted the significance of their triumph. They had proven that excellence couldn't be confined to traditional standards, that true greatness often emerged from unexpected places. The championship's medical panel immediately requested access to their research data. What they had demonstrated went beyond sport. It had implications for equine rehabilitation worldwide. Already, other trainers were approaching Maya, eager to learn how they could apply these principles to their own work. As they made their way back to the preparation area, surrounded by admirers and well-wishers, Maya noticed something profound. The other horses were watching Cosmos with unmistakable interest, some even attempting to imitate its unique movements. They had started a revolution not just in human understanding, but in equine evolution itself. Dr. Harrison met them with the latest cardiac readings. "The efficiency we're seeing is unprecedented," he explained excitedly. "Under these conditions, Cosmos's adapted cardiovascular system is actually performing better than traditional heart function. We're seeing the emergence of a new paradigm in equine physiology." Later that night, as the excitement gradually subsided, Maya sat with Cosmos in the quiet stable. The yearling's spiral marking seemed to glow with inner satisfaction, a symbol of their journey from rejected foal to pioneer of new possibilities. "We did more than prove them wrong," Maya whispered, stroking Cosmos's neck. "We proved that there are infinite ways to be right, that strength comes in many forms, and that sometimes our greatest challenges lead us to our greatest innovations." Their performance at the World Equine Performance Championships would be remembered as a turning point in equestrian history, the moment when the world began to understand that different didn't mean less, that adaptation could lead to advancement, and that true excellence often came in unexpected forms. As the stars shone above the arena, Maya added one final note to her journal. "Tonight, we showed the world that perfection isn't a single standard. It's the courage to find your own path to excellence." Cosmos didn't just overcome limitations, it transformed them into advantages. In doing so, it taught us all that our perceived weaknesses often hold the seeds of our greatest strengths. The aftermath of their groundbreaking performance at the World Equine Performance Championships rippled through the equestrian world like a shockwave of transformation. News outlets worldwide carried the story of the miracle horse that had revolutionized understanding of equine potential. But for Maya and Cosmos, their most significant impact was just beginning. 1 month after their triumphant showcase, Maya received an unexpected invitation. The Global Institute for Adaptive Research wanted to establish a revolutionary new center dedicated to studying and implementing their methods. They proposed transforming her modest sanctuary into a state-of-the-art facility that would combine traditional healing with cutting-edge science. "This isn't just about horses anymore," Dr. Rodriguez explained during the planning meeting. "What you and Cosmos have discovered could revolutionize how we approach rehabilitation for all species." The construction began immediately, funded by an international coalition of research institutions and animal welfare organizations. Maya's quiet valley transformed into a haven of innovation, with specialized training areas designed to encourage adaptive movement patterns. Each space was crafted to help animals discover their own unique paths to strength. Victoria Sterling's response to their success took an unexpected turn. After weeks of silence, she appeared at the sanctuary one morning, alone and without her usual entourage. The woman who stepped out of her luxury vehicle seemed different, humbled, perhaps even transformed by what she had witnessed. "I came to admit something," Sterling said, watching Cosmos move through its morning routine with a group of recovering horses. "I was wrong. Not just about this horse, but about everything I thought I knew about breeding and potential." Maya listened as Sterling revealed how their performance had forced her to confront the consequences of her ruthless pursuit of conventional perfection. "I've spent my life believing strength could only look one way," she confessed. "But watching Cosmos that night, I saw something I'd never considered possible." The conversation led to an unexpected partnership. Sterling offered to transform Silvercrest Stables into a rehabilitation center, focusing on horses that traditional breeding programs had rejected. It was a stunning reversal that sent ripples through the industry. The scientific community's interest in their work continued to grow. Dr. Chen's detailed analysis of Cosmos's movement patterns had revealed principles that challenged fundamental assumptions about biomechanics. "What we're seeing," she explained, during a presentation at a major veterinary conference, "is evolution in action, the development of new movement patterns that could represent the future of equine adaptation." Sarah's contribution to their work expanded as well. Her integration of traditional healing practices with modern rehabilitation techniques had created a new framework for holistic animal care. Healers from indigenous cultures around the world began visiting the sanctuary, sharing their ancient wisdom about working with animals' natural adaptations. One particularly moving moment came when a group of children with physical challenges visited the sanctuary. Watching Cosmos demonstrate how different could be extraordinary, their faces lit up with new hope. "If a horse can find its own way, to be strong," one young girl declared, "so can I." The impact of their work spread beyond the equestrian world. Rehabilitation specialists working with different species began adopting their principles of adaptive development. A marine wildlife center successfully rehabilitated a dolphin with spinal issues using modified versions of their techniques. A big cat sanctuary helped a leopard with a congenital heart condition thrive using their cardiac adaptation protocols. Dr. Harrison's continued research into Cosmos's cardiac development led to groundbreaking discoveries. The unique way the horse's heart had adapted offered new insights into cardiovascular rehabilitation. "We're seeing possibilities we never imagined," he reported. "What was once considered a defect has become a catalyst for understanding new pathways of healing." The sanctuary became a living laboratory of transformation. Each day brought new discoveries as they worked with animals facing various challenges. Cosmos seemed to understand its role as a pioneer, showing remarkable patience when demonstrating movements to newcomers struggling to find their strength. One morning, Maya witnessed something extraordinary. A newly arrived horse with severe mobility issues watched Cosmos intently before attempting to mimic its unique gait. Within days, the horse had begun developing its own adaptive movement pattern, one that worked perfectly for its specific condition. "This is what we've been missing," Meyer explained to a group of visiting veterinary students. "We've been so focused on fixing what we consider broken that we've overlooked the incredible adaptability inherent in every living being." The documentation of their work continued to grow, creating a comprehensive database of alternative approaches to rehabilitation. Universities began incorporating their findings into veterinary programs, teaching new generations of animal care professionals to look beyond conventional limitations. Alexander Bennett returned to the sanctuary with another proposition. The World Equine Performance Championships wanted to create a new division specifically for adaptive excellence. "You and Cosmos showed us that different forms of movement could be just as magnificent as traditional ones," he explained. "It's time we celebrated that diversity." The spiral marking on Cosmos's forehead had become a symbol of hope, recognized worldwide as an emblem of the movement they had started. Artists created works inspired by their story. Children wrote letters sharing their own experiences of finding strength in difference, and scientists continued studying the remarkable ways life could adapt and thrive. One evening, as the sun set over the expanded sanctuary, Meyer watched Cosmos leading a group of recovering horses through their adaptive exercises. The sight crystallized everything they had achieved, not just the rehabilitation of countless animals, but a fundamental shift in how the world viewed potential and perfection. "You didn't just prove them wrong," she told Cosmos, stroking its neck. "You showed them a whole new way to be right. You taught us that strength isn't about conforming to a standard, it's about finding your unique way to shine." Their story had become a beacon of hope, inspiring others to look beyond conventional wisdom and see the extraordinary potential that often lay hidden in what others dismissed as flaws. Each day brought new evidence that their revolution in rehabilitation was just beginning, that they had opened a door to understanding how different forms of excellence could manifest. As stars appeared in the darkening sky, Maya made her final journal entry of the day. "We started this journey trying to save one life, but we ended up changing countless others. Cosmos showed us that sometimes our greatest challenges can become our greatest gifts, that what makes us different can make us extraordinary, and that true strength often comes in forms we never expected." This isn't just a story about a horse that defied the odds. It's about how embracing our unique paths can lead us to heights we never imagined possible. 5 years had passed since that stormy night when Maya found Cosmos, and the transformation they had sparked in the world of animal rehabilitation had exceeded everyone's expectations. The once modest sanctuary had evolved into the global center for adaptive excellence, a pioneering institution that drew visitors and students from every corner of the world. On this particular morning, Maya stood at the center's observation point, watching the sunrise illuminate a scene that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. Dozens of horses, each with their own unique challenges, moved across the specially designed training grounds, demonstrating the incredible power of adaptive rehabilitation. Cosmos, now a magnificent adult horse, led these sessions with an almost supernatural awareness of each animal's needs. The spiral marking on its forehead had become more prominent with age, creating an almost mythical appearance that matched its extraordinary capabilities. But more remarkable than its physical presence was the impact it had on others, not just animals, but humans who came seeking hope and inspiration. The center had become a beacon of innovation, combining cutting-edge science with ancient wisdom. Dr. Chen's biomechanics lab, equipped with the latest motion capture technology, continued documenting how alternative movement patterns could often prove more efficient than traditional ones. Sarah's healing garden, filled with medicinal plants from around the world, provided natural remedies that complemented modern treatments. Victoria Sterling, once their greatest opponent, had become one of their strongest advocates. She had completely restructured Silvercrest Stables, transforming it into a sister facility focused on giving imperfect horses a chance to discover their potential. The breeding industry, influenced by their success, had begun shifting away from rigid conformational standards toward a more holistic understanding of equine excellence. On this special anniversary morning, Maya was preparing for an unprecedented event. The center was hosting the first global symposium on adaptive excellence, bringing together experts from various fields: veterinary medicine, human rehabilitation, sports science, and traditional healing practices. Their goal was to share how the principles they had discovered working with Cosmos could be applied across species and disciplines. Dr. Harrison arrived early, carrying the latest research papers that demonstrated how their methods had revolutionized cardiac rehabilitation. What we learned from Cosmos's adaptation has helped us understand entirely new pathways of cardiovascular development, he explained. We're seeing applications in human medicine now. The morning's first presentation featured a young girl named Sophie, who had visited the center years ago. Inspired by Cosmos's story, she had overcome her own physical challenges to become a para-equestrian athlete. Watching Cosmos showed me that being different didn't mean being less, she told the assembled audience. It meant finding your own way to be extraordinary. The symposium showcased success stories from around the world. A wildlife rehabilitation center in Africa had used their principles to help injured elephants develop new ways of moving. A marine mammal rescue facility in Australia had adapted their techniques to work with dolphins facing various challenges. Each case demonstrated how their approach to rehabilitation had transcended its original context. Dr. Rodriguez presented groundbreaking research showing how animals that developed adaptive movements often demonstrated greater resilience and problem-solving abilities than their traditionally trained counterparts. What we once saw as compensation, she explained, we now understand as innovation. The afternoon session focused on the future of adaptive excellence. Maya unveiled plans for a global network of rehabilitation centers, each designed to combine local healing traditions with modern science. The goal was to create spaces where animals and humans could discover their unique paths to strength. During a break in the presentations, Maya found Cosmos in its favorite meadow, surrounded by a group of young horses learning to adapt to various challenges. The scene perfectly captured everything they had achieved, not just the rehabilitation of countless animals, but a fundamental shift in how the world viewed potential and perfection. Alexander Bennett, who had given them their first major platform at the World Equine Performance Championships, announced the creation of an international scholarship program. The Cosmos Initiative, he explained, will support research and training in adaptive excellence, ensuring that this revolution in rehabilitation continues to grow. As the day progressed, the symposium became a celebration of transformation, not just of bodies, but of minds and perspectives. People shared stories of how Cosmos's journey had inspired them to look beyond conventional limitations, to see possibility where others saw problems. The evening culminated in a special demonstration. Under the setting sun, Cosmos led a group of rehabilitated horses through a choreographed performance that showcased the beauty of adaptive movement. Each animal moved in its own unique way, creating a harmony that transcended traditional notions of perfection. Maya stood watching, remembering that stormy night when she had found a fragile foal that others had deemed worthless. "You didn't just survive," she whispered to Cosmos later. "You showed us all a new way to thrive." As the stars emerged, the center's grounds filled with light as participants from around the world gathered for the closing ceremony. Each person held a lantern, creating a constellation of hope that illuminated the valley. What began with one horse's fight for survival, Maya addressed the gathering, has become a worldwide movement. Cosmos taught us that our challenges don't define us. They open doors to new possibilities. Different isn't less. It's just another path to excellence. The ceremony concluded with the announcement of the next phase in their journey, the establishment of the International Institute for Adaptive Innovation. This new initiative would expand their work beyond animal rehabilitation, applying their principles to human medicine, sports training, and therapeutic practices. As the celebration continued into the night, Maya made her final journal entry. 5 years ago, we set out to prove that one abandoned foal deserved a chance at life. Instead, we discovered something far more powerful, that when we open our minds to different forms of excellence, we unlock potential we never knew existed. Cosmos didn't just overcome adversity, it showed us that adversity itself can be the catalyst for extraordinary achievement. The stars shone brightly over the valley, their light catching Cosmos's spiral marking as the horse moved peacefully through the meadow. In that moment, Maya realized their story would continue inspiring others to look beyond conventional wisdom, to see the extraordinary potential that often lies hidden in what others dismiss as flaws. The legacy they had created would live on through countless lives touched by their journey, through every animal that found its unique path to strength, and through every person who learned to see difference not as a limitation, but as an opportunity for transformation. They had not just changed how the world viewed rehabilitation, they had redefined the very meaning of perfection itself. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.